talking about the dual players of Cahir and County Tipperary, and it's a big weekend for them. It might be a massive weekend for them. There is 2 games in a 24-hour, 26-hour span. The Junior A Camogie final is on Saturday afternoon at 12 o'clock. On Sunday at 2 o'clock, they're due to play Aishling in the Tip Ladies Football Senior A final. So the Camogie's on the Saturday at noon. The football is on the Sunday at 2 p.m. and this fixture clash is causing them a lot of concern. Aishling Moloney is one of the most recognised Gaelic footballers in the country and is a member of both teams. Aishling, good morning to you. How are you?
Good morning. How are you?
So maybe you might spool us back a couple of weeks. You're going along, season's going well. You're winning about the Camogie and the football. At any stage at that point, were you looking forward and going, this might be a bit of an issue if things keep going well?
Yeah, so I suppose just to start from the start, for those who don't know what's going on, I suppose we're faced with 2 county finals at the weekend now on the 26th and 27th. We already did this back in September on the 12th and 13th. We played a Junior A final on the Saturday, followed by a football final on the Sunday. We said that weekend that we'd suffer the consequences in hope that we were going to be in a final. I suppose since it's a final now, we're kind of obviously not taking it lightly, because obviously you're going to need 100% to win both games. But this is actually a Camogie issue, not a football issue. Camogie finals were on last weekend, the 19th and 20th gone. Intermediate and senior games were played, but yet somehow the junior game has been brought forward to Saturday. Now, football weekend is always the 27th of September. For as long as I'm playing football, I've always known it to be a football weekend. This Sunday, 27th of September, they actually play all their finals on the junior, intermediate and senior. So this is actually a Camogie issue. It's nothing to do with the LGFA. This was also flagged prior to the semi-final when we played the football on the Friday. Our club officers notified the county board to let them know that this could be a possible issue and flagged it. So county board officers were known of this clash coming up that's going to happen this weekend. Okay,
so the Camogie Association have said that they have talked to both of the clubs involved in both the... I don't know how they were talking to the football club. I guess they wrote to the football club and asked if there was any possibility of moving it. So your opponents have also refused to move the game on Saturday. Is that correct?
Yeah. So we follow procedures. There's a procedure that you have to follow when you want to get a match changed. So we follow procedure, and we contacted our club that we're playing against, Villa, to see would they help us out in some way, but they refused, which is totally understandable. They're willing to do that. What we're kind of fighting is that, in a case of player welfare issues coming to arise, we think that the county board should intervene and have a say in this. We received a statement from Tipperary County Board last night. It stated that they saw no free weekend, which we believe this is totally incorrect, that last weekend this junior game could have been played on the weekend of 19/20, and there's no reason for it. There's no rush in this Camogie game being played. It could be played in the following weeks, as it doesn't go on to Munster and All-Ireland. So what we're saying here is that the county board need to intervene. There's player welfare issues going on here. We're playing a game within 26 hours. And I think now there needs to be put a stop to it.
So, Aishling, just to go back to that, their statement said that this had been the weekend fixed for this junior final the whole way through. Why was this junior final different from the rest of the Camogie finals?
So we actually understand that they had a fix for this weekend, but what we're saying is we are like Lockmore Castleiney. We're a dual club. We had flagged this with them 3 and 4 weeks ago that this is going to happen. At the start of the year, when we get a set of fixtures, we can't presume that we're going to be in finals. We have to just take the weeks as they come. So it's not that we didn't flag it with them. This has been flagged 3-4 weeks ago with them. So I don't understand. It doesn't make any sense to me why they didn't just have this as a Camogie weekend last Saturday and Sunday and put all the finals on the junior, intermediate and senior. But we've been aware now that the junior B semi-finals in Camogie are happening Sunday 27th of September, and the finals are on the following weekend. And we're requesting that we play this weekend, but somehow or another we're not being accommodated in that. I don't understand why. It's so confusing.
So you think you could have played last weekend or the weekend after? That's the case that you guys are making?
Yeah, we could have played last weekend or the weekend after. Seeing as the Junior B semi-finals are going ahead for this Sunday 27, the semi-finals, and the finals are the following weekend. Why couldn't they made a junior weekend out of it on the 3rd and 4th of October?
Isn't the real problem, actually, though, that the Camogie and the LGFA and the Camogie are separate organisations here, and so one organisation sits down and makes its fixtures, the other organisation sits down and makes their fixtures, and actually when you're saying the county board should intervene, there needs to be the same county board. Even though you're a dual club, technically it's separate organisations.
Yeah, we understand that it's separate organisations. I suppose Tipperary Ladies Football came out with a statement and they said they're always open and willing to work with Camogie. Now, as far as we're concerned, we're not sure. I don't know how you're going to take that up if they have tried to be in contact with Tipperary Camogie start to this whole championship starting. So I don't know how you're going to take that up. But I don't think, in this instance, I actually don't think it matters that both organisations are separate. I think Camogie are being slightly arrogant on their approach to this. I don't know why. Why couldn't they play it that weekend? And if a Junior B semi-final is going on next weekend, I can't understand as to why we can't be accommodated. We have stressed our player welfare issues. We've already done this. We didn't kick up a fuss. We didn't crow previous to this on the weekend of the 12th and 13th of September. But here we are now, and I suppose, look, normally you throw these things under the blanket, and I do myself. I often say nothing and don't speak up, but I just think it's gone beyond the joke now at this stage, because there's actually, we can be accommodated, but they're just being arrogant about it, and I just don't understand why.
And if the county board were to step in and change the fixture, would your opponents likely complain about that? Because, you know, we've seen inter-club rivalries in other counties have bubbled up over the course of the summer to the point where an under-16 game ended up nearly costing an inter-county team access to 5 of its best players. So, like, do they have the wherewithal to step in now that the club that you're playing against have refused your request to move the game?
Yeah, well, that's what we think should happen, that if there's player welfare issues coming in line, I think the county board have to step in, regardless of what the club thinks. Like, we followed procedures and went the right way about this, the way you do to try to get a match changed. Like, we didn't really do anything out of line. We kept quiet. We worked in the background. We said nothing, but we said to the county board that if you're not going to accommodate us, there's no other way. We've no other choice, but to go to media. So here we are today fighting it. But I understand what you're saying, but seeing as there are player welfare issues involved, and it's the duty of the county board and the club officers to look after their players and their player welfare. I don't know if they're fulfilling this duty, if they're allowing a clash to go ahead like this, and they're aware that this was flagged 3-4 weeks ago, and it could be played last weekend, the 19-20, or the following weekend, the 3rd and 4th. So I know we're sitting here very confused this morning after receiving a statement back from Tipperary County Board.
I have two last things there. The first one, with the weekend of the 11th and 12th, you obviously played a camogie match and a football match in that weekend. Is that right?
Yeah, we did. We played the Junior A on the Junior A semi-final against Drummond Inch on the Saturday, and we played a Senior A football final against Brian Brews on the Sunday, and we were lucky to come through it. We were 9 points down with about 5-6 minutes to go, and we came back and won it, luckily, thank God. So. And
in terms of what the aftermath of that was like for the players, how many dual players are we talking about?
Sorry, actually, that's a valid point. I actually mentioned we have 16 dual players, and 10 of them are starters on both teams.
And what was the week after, like, in terms of welfare issues? Do you have welfare issues coming out of that weekend that might carry forward to this?
We certainly do, yeah. I suppose, like, we can easily brag on here and make up that we player welfare issues, but we actually did. Personally, myself, a few of us are involved in county setups, and I suppose I've never actually, it took such a toll on my body. And I suppose you'd be used to kind of hard training and that during the week, but it took a severe toll on our bodies. I'm only coming around now, and so are the other girls. So, look, we kept quiet about it because we didn't want to be making a scene, and we said we'll just suffer the consequence now in hope that we're going to be in a final. And we said nothing about it. We understood at the time that, you know, our matches were put forward because of Moneygall had an instance of COVID there. But now we feel it was flagged at them in 3-4 weeks ago. Now we feel that we actually can't. They actually are not, and refusing to accommodate us.
Aishling, is this the first thing something like this has happened to you personally at club or at county level?
No, it actually hasn't. It's happened underage. Like, I remember when we were younger, we used to be playing a football match on a Saturday, a football match on a Sunday. We could be playing a football match on a Saturday, followed by a football match that Saturday evening. It's happening in Cahir at the minute. I know Alan O'Connor is involved with us. He trained Lockmore Castleiney to the double in 2013. So he knows what it's like working with a dual club with our counterparts in Lockmore Castleiney. His daughter, last weekend gone, was out 2 days on the trot, football and camogie. So, look, it's happening at underage level as well. Obviously, I think when it comes into that stage, I think both county boards need to come and talk together on that. But I think in this instance, it's totally separate to Tipperary Ladies Football. Tipperary Camogie are just being arrogant on it, and I just don't understand why.
Yeah, like I guess the dual thing is all, especially when you have two separate organisations, it's always going to throw up problems. Do you feel that it's just exacerbated a little bit by the pandemic and the fact that we're trying to cram in a whole load of club fixtures before inter-county begins?
No, I don't think so, because last weekend was free and following weekend is free, and there's no rush with this Camogie game to be played. It could be played in a few weeks down the line. And look, I suppose if someone got COVID, God forbid, in one of the clubs, these games will be pushed forward anyway. So I just don't understand. I don't think there's an excuse for that we're squishing the club games in, because we're here looking at 2 weekends, but it's just, I don't know, it's just so frustrating. What's going on at the minute. We can't put our fingers on it, our heads, so we can't throw light in this. It's crazy what's going on.
Let me just read some of the Tipperary Camogie Board statement, because obviously they're not here. So Tipperary Camogie has carefully planned a full programme of club activity during this very short club activity window of late July to early October. Our fixtures committee has tried to give players at all adult grades and underage teams a reasonable championship of matches within this narrow time frame. Our county teams begin action on the weekend of October the 17th and have begun preparation recently. The COVID-19 lockdown has caused havoc with our original fixtures, and revised fixtures were sent out in June with a reminder of dates in August, with quarter-finals, semi-finals and finals to be fixed for senior, intermediate, junior A and junior B grades. There was no possibility of having free weekends in our fixture plan. There's no change to the adult fixture programme sent in June, except for Moneygall and St Cronins being subject to a 14-day delay, while some players were affected by the off-leash lockdown. Junior A final has been fixed for September 26th for over 3 months. They say various options were explored about Cahir playing both football and camogie next weekend, and both opposition clubs in football and camogie were contacted, but a change was not feasible to these clubs. The dual player issue is very difficult to solve with clashes of fixtures and busy schedules for dual players as both clubs or county teams progress. The fixture committees of both Tip Camogie and Tip LGFA are in weekly contact throughout the playing season to avoid playing matches on the same day, wishing all three clubs the best in the upcoming games. So they're basically saying, we tried, our hands are tied here once the two clubs refuse.
Yeah, like, to be honest, reading that statement, like, I think for anyone in Ireland, you'd have to be blunt about it and say the wool is just over their eyes. No free weekends. Like, we're looking at last weekend, we're looking at the weekends leading on. Like, they need to take a stance, I personally think, and on behalf of the dual players, we think as well, as we stated in our players' statement last night in return to them, that when player welfare issues are on the line, that the county board need to step in. And just read, when we received that statement last night, it was so frustrating to read, because this has been flagged with them. This has been flagged with them for weeks about this. Suffered the consequence in the semi-final. It's so avoidable what's going on this weekend, and we wouldn't sit here creating a fuss. So I don't know. It's just really, really hard to understand what's going on, and it's just so confusing, and I suppose so disrespectful to all of us as players and members of Camogie. And I suppose we've one girl involved with Tipperary Camogie, Roisin Herod. She's played at Tipperary Camogie all through the ranks, and I suppose looking at her going into a county setup now, and they're not taking even her player welfare into account. God forbid she goes out the weekend and she does a cruciate ligament. One of the stars for their team. I suppose, I don't know. It just seems all very, very, very confusing, and it's just an absolute downright disgrace the way it's going on at the minute now.
All right, Aishling, thanks very much for joining us this morning. We wish you the very best of luck. Are both games going to go ahead as far as you're concerned?
As far as we're concerned, they are. Look, I suppose we're just going to have to troop on now, I suppose. It's not even about us dual players. There's girls on the Camogie team who aren't playing football, and there's girls on the football team who aren't playing Camogie. So both sides are being affected. Management are being affected. I suppose this is having an emotional impact on it as well. I haven't had a wink sleep the whole week, because I just think this is absolutely crazy. Sport is there to be enjoyed, and here we are hustling and bustling the week of the county final when we should be enjoying it. So look, we'll troop on anyway, and we'll see where this takes us. But I don't know. It's just so downright disrespectful and so confusing.
Well, listen, best of luck with it this weekend. Thanks a million for joining us this morning.
Thank you. Thanks for having us as well, because I suppose without you, we can't air our concerns. So I'd just like to thank you as well for having us on. We're really grateful for that.
No problems. That's Aishling Moloney there, one of the Tipperary footballers, and obviously a Cahir dual player ahead of the weekend, where fingers crossed everybody gets through safe and sound the two matches and the 2 days.